entrance.
One day.
I can see we need a bigger table. I was last here a couple of weeks ago to talk about a number of things. I wish to announce that I will be sworn in tomorrow at State House in Tebe at 10 a.m. as the Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs. And thereafter the Parliament will invite me to be sworn in as an ex-officio MP without a constituency. Because when you are ex-officio, you are there by virtue of being a member of the executive. I was very pleased during the vetting, and as I told the press, the MPs impressed me by their focus. The leader of opposition, for instance, asked me, what will I do as Minister for Justice and Constitutional Affairs to make the constitutional body known as the National Consultative Forum for Political Parties effective. As usual, sincerity is the best policy. I think God rewards those who are sincere because He sees the heart, does not just hear your words. So, I told the leader of opposition that we are concerned that some parties with representation in Parliament don't want to join the Inter-Party Organization for Dialogue, IPOD. We hope that since the NRM chairs the National Consultative Forum for Political Parties and the NUP is the deputy chair, we shall try to invest more in order to create a better climate for dialogue. It is true that the current climate is not very conducive for dialogue. But we cannot wait for a good climate. That's why farmers do irrigation. You don't wait for the rain. You try your best to do whatever you can so that the crops don't die. So that is an important agenda that I shared with the parliamentary committee. They also talked about political prisoners. I told them that the matter is in court, so it is not necessary for me to express a lot of opinions, but I do believe that it will be important to offer some fresh advice on how the government can deal with those cases. It's my duty to serve without bias. I also told them that unlike other members of the cabinet who are appointed based on either winning elections or on account of what the head of state thinks they can do for the government, I have been appointed pursuant to a cooperation agreement. I want to reiterate that BP approved 3 strategic objectives when we had our retreat at the Sela Hotel last year after the 2021 elections. The National Organizing Secretary of the party gave us our report card. It was not as bad as people wanted to appear. You all know that we went into the 2021 elections with 4 members of parliament. 10 of our 15 MPs had crossed, 1 had died. So we had only 4 MPs when we went into the elections. We came back with 9. Those 9 are worth more than their weight in gold. So I told the committee that my terms of reference and the job that DP will be spearheading is clearly stated in the cooperation agreement. I urge Ugandans not to mix up what they call a merger. A merger means you become one. In other words, one political party and another or others end up becoming one political party. That's what we call a merger. Then we have a coalition. A coalition can be before elections or after elections. I have my own experience with coalitions before elections. I'll not tire you with my experience because I've not come here to lament. I'm facing forward. Then there's an alliance. Then there is cooperation. Cooperation is on specific areas. For instance, before we had the East African Community, we had East African Cooperation, which was a lower rank of what became the East African Community. Even before we created the East African Community, there was something known as the East African Common Services Organization. The East African Common Services Organization was about cooperating to have a common railway system. We had East African Railways, common air transportation, East African Airways, and East African Customs. So it is our duty not to overreact when people misunderstand this cooperation. That's why you have noticed that I have not been as tough as usually I am. Because the Nobad Mao, you know, would not just sit by and listen as people attack him and call him names. You know me better by now. Release a few missiles. But I've decided that when people are speaking out of limited information, it is your duty to give information. So I have decided deliberately to spend time explaining to our leaders what really happened. But also, given the sensitivity of the matter, I have to tell you I'm very proud of the DP Management Committee. The DP Management Committee has 11 members. I chair the Management Committee as President. The Vice President, Honorable Mukasambide, is a member. The Secretary General, Dr. Gerard Siranda, is a member. The National Chairman, Dr. Mayambala, is a member. The National Treasurer, Honorable Babirye Kabanda, is a member. The National Legal Advisor, Omukungu Nalukola Luyimbazi, is a member. The National Organizing Secretary, Herbert Rutagwera, is a member. The President of the UYD, Ismail Kiria, is a member. The President of the Women's League, Aisha Nuriat Warigo, is a member. The National Publicity Secretary, Okole Opio Loa Manu, who is right here, is a member. The Deputy Secretary General also sits in that meeting. Plus the parliamentary whip. Those are members. Now that organ meets every Wednesday. Every Wednesday. And the quorum is 4. But everybody gets notice. I want to assure you that I briefed the management committee, which is a constitutional body, to do work on behalf of NEC. And I'm actually very proud of the management committee because nothing leaked for 1 full year. You know, Kampala, according to Binaisa, former president, is said to be a city of 7 hills and 7 rumors a day. The fact that nothing leaked is actually a surprise. I think DP leaders can actually manage government because they never leaked anything. I was very open to them. I even told them I'm in talks with President Museveni. And I gave them the reason. Number 1, Uganda is at a turning point. When Uganda turns or changes, what will be the position of the Democratic Party? We have got a ruling party that has more or less fused itself with the government. Right now, no wonder when you are in government, people perceive it to be the same as joining NRM. I want to assure Ugandans, I will take that misunderstanding with all the kindness and charity because I know it is a reflection of the reality you see. Because wherever you go, the NRM members behave as if they are all in government. And yet the government is supposed to be composed of officials from a political party that has won elections to run the state. So now the state and the ruling party appear to be one. We have to disentangle. It is like thinking that Norbert Mao and DP are one and the same. Or the National Executive Committee being the same as the party. The two are separate. When the delegates meet, they may decide to elect a new team. They must find a party which is intact. Now in Uganda, because of our violent history, we have never seen peaceful change. So according to the agreement, the Democratic Party now has an opportunity to participate in government on the issues of peaceful presidential transition. It is there in the document, in those very words. Somebody asked me, are you sure those words are there? They are there. 2, national dialogue. National dialogue is different from our thing of ICOD, where we are accused of taking tea and receiving bribes. This one is national. I don't think you can bribe 45 million Ugandans. We have many models of national dialogue. Why do we need a national dialogue? There was no Uganda before the colonialists came. Every community had their government. Buganda had its government. Bunyoro had its government. Toro had its government. Ankole had its government. Bagisu had a way they were governing themselves. The Acholi, the Lukbaras, the Karimojong. Then the British came and just fenced us all in. We could not even communicate to each other. That's why I'm talking to you in English. Because if I go to Elgon and say, Kobango, they say, Mapwa. And maybe we'll start a fight, thinking it is an insult. We tried to find a formula to work together under the leadership of our former Prime Minister and party leader, Ben Kiwanuka. They gave Uganda the 1962 Constitution. The 1962 Constitution died in infancy because it died when it was aged 4. You know, infant mortality is about how long a child lives before the age of 5. How many children die before the age of 5? So you could say Uganda's first constitution was a victim of infant mortality because it was not vaccinated against the killer diseases that kill infants. And then we went on through a season when there were no parties. We had a military dictatorship. Then we had a series of governments. Then the Bushmen came, led by President Museveni. They chased everyone out of town and tried to patch up the country. Amidst a lot of resistance. This won't work, this will work. I welcome criticism. The media has decided that this is a controversial agreement. I accept. History is made through controversy. And the most controversial figure in history is the Lord Jesus I serve. Because he came and said very scandalous things. Love your enemy? How do you love your enemy? You destroy your enemy. That was very controversial. Give away your wealth. How? You should be holy. So I want to accept wholeheartedly that indeed this cooperation agreement is highly controversial. On Saturday, I was in Isingiro to welcome back the Vice President of the Democratic Party representing Western Uganda, now Alhaji Imam Makumbi. I told a little story which I want to repeat. A young boy went herding cows in the hills. He was bored, so he started shouting obscenities at the hill. You are very stupid. You are very ugly. I hate you. I'll kill you if I find you. And the hills gave him back the echoes. So he went to his mother and reported that behind the hills lived a very, very nasty boy who has threatened to kill him, who has called him all sorts of names. The mother understood that these were echoes. So the mother told him, go back tomorrow and shout different things. For instance, I love you, let's meet, let's be friends, I want to visit your home. Of course, when he shouted those very words, the echoes came back to him. So he went back to his mother and told the mother, Mom, that boy has completely changed. He told me he loves me. He told me he wants to meet me. He told me he wants to be my friend. And he told me that he wants me to visit him. The politics of Uganda is like that. We have been shouting at the NRM and we have been receiving the same echoes. When we threaten them, they threaten us even more. When we abuse them, they abuse us even more. So, we need to change. When I was a young boy, we did an experiment. There was a young lady who was extremely arrogant. She used to pass near our home after school. And she was quite beautiful, by the way. We try to ignore her. Sometimes when she's passing, we try to jeer. Then we decided to change our strategy. So when she would be passing, we would say, we have never seen a more beautiful woman in the world. So of course she would ignore her as she passes. The next time she passes, those are the best clothes we have ever seen. When she passes again, she really looks intelligent. And we persisted. In no time, the young lady started looking out for us. Whenever she's passing, one day we hid. And when she reached where we normally sat, she was looking around, waiting for the praises. That was a successful experiment in human nature. All the political parties have human beings. And we must learn how to deal with human beings. Most people ask me, how did you get this done? I got this done by putting all my cards on the table. DP remains intact as a political party. As a matter of fact, it is stronger. Our MPs, we protected them through the agreement. They will speak as DP and as MPs. And I, as president of the party, and continue leading my party to fight for its space in Uganda. In addition, we will also utilize the capacity of the government to achieve some of our goals. We have to redeem the time. DP has been in opposition since 1962. Now we hear those who joined yesterday are lecturing us about opposition. You hear them, farm opposition, farm opposition. When you are in opposition, it means you are opposing certain ideas. We are professors of opposition as DP. We have PhD in opposition. Others are still in the kindergarten of opposition. So I call upon DP members to support this new trend. Why should they support it? Because it is good for Uganda. And Uganda is bigger than Norbert Mao. Uganda is bigger than President Museveni. Uganda is bigger than NRM. Uganda is bigger than DP. Uganda is bigger than any political party. Because without Uganda, the political parties are irrelevant. So I go into government to promote this agenda. I ask for the prayers of the nation to play my part and to give DP an opportunity to contribute to serving Ugandans at this critical moment. I am very optimistic. That is the difference. Many people are pessimistic. Actually, it is safe to be a pessimist. Because when you are a pessimist, you are covered. If a pessimist says, I think it is going to rain, it's going to be a bad day, and you tell him, no, it won't rain. So if okusookera ddala njagala kulangira mu butongole nafunye obubaka obuva mu cabinet secretariat nga bantegeeza nti njakulayizibwa enkya ku ssaawa 4 mu State House Entebbe nga minisita wa byamateeka ne ssemateeka, justice and constitutional affairs. Abannayuganda balina okitegeera nti bwe tutuuse Uganda eri masaŋŋanzira, tuli kaserengeto kazibu, ate akaserengeto kalina ne koona, ate n'ekimotoka kye tulimu kirabika terina breeki ne handbrake yakutuka. Twebuuza, Uganda eribeerawo nga gavumenti eno evudde mu buyinza, oba tugenda kugoberera kkubo lya Somalia eya Siad Barre, oba tugenda kugoberera kkubo lya Libya nga Gaddafi avudde mu buyinza? Buli omu agamba nti tulina okubaako kye tukola, abantu beekalakasizza, abantu batusuubiza ebyamagero, abantu boogedde ebintu. Ffe nga DP oluvannyuma lw'akalulu ka 2021 twatuula mu miitingi yaffe ereeta abakulembeze ab'oku ntikko abatuula kakiiko akafuzi aka National Executive Committee, ne tuyita n'ababaka baffe 9 ne tubaako bye tukaanyaako, ne tugamba nti okusinziira ku mbeera eri mu ggwanga tukoze tutya nga Democratic Party okukuuma n'okuzimba ekibiina kyaffe n'okulaba nga Abannayuganda balaba ku kye batalabangako, gavumenti okukyuka awatali kavuyo na kuyiwa musaayi. Ne tukaanya ku bintu bisatu ng'ebigendererwa oba ebiruubirirwa. Ekisooka, DP okuwangula obuyinza nga Democratic Party. Ekyokubiri, DP okwetaba mu gavumenti ng'ekulemberwa kibiina kirala kyonna tusobole okutuukiriza ebigendererwa byaffe nga Democratic Party. Ekyokusatu, okulembera oludda oluvuganya nga ffe ba main challenge, eyo strategic objectives ze twakaanyaako ebiruubirirwa. Ng'akalulu ka 2021 kaakagwa, nafuna essimu kuva ewa pulezidenti w'eggwanga ng'alina by'aŋŋamba engeri gye nsobola okuyingira mu gavumenti ye. Ne mugamba nti ssebo mpaayo akadde, nina okwebuuza ku bantu. Oluvannyuma n'addamu n'ankubira, ne mugamba nti neebuuziza ku bantu, waliwo ensonga ze ntadde mu buwandiike bukusindikidde, ekyo ekiwandiiko kisome, by'olaba nga tebikukolera bw'ogamba tubijjemu, ebikola bw'obirekamu. Naye ekikulu, saagala oyingize mutwe gwokka mu gavumenti ng'omubiri guli wabweru nga bw'obadde okola. Ate mujjukire omugenzi Secretary General waffe olumu, Honorable Mathias Subuga, awo Mulemirembe, yagambako President Museveni, lwaki ogenda oloba mu buli kibiina otaddemu eddobo, olwaleero osiseeyo ono, enkya osiseeyo oli? Tomanyi nti bino ebibiina obyetaaga zisigale nga institutions? Lekerawo okuloba oba oyagala kukolagana naffe tubeere n'enkolagana mu buwandiike. Ekyembi yatugendako naye ffe tusigaddewo nga tugamba tetuyinza kkiriza kugenda kinoomu one by one. Yatunuulira ekiwandiiko oluvannyuma yaddamu nankubye n'agamba nti yabiyita legalize, n'agamba nti ng'owandiise bingi. Ne mugamba nti tewali buzibu, byolaba nga tebigasa tujja kubijjamu, naye tubeeko n'enkolagana wakati w'ebibiina ebibiri nga tukaanyiza ku bigendererwa. Abamu mpulira bagamba nga bayingizaamu omugenzi Sipiika Oulanya nti bino biriwo kubanga kakati pulezidenti yeetaaga omuntu ow'amaanyi okuva mu mambuka kuba Oulanya yafa. Bino ebintu byatandika nga sipiika mulamu. N'olwekyo mbasaba mukole research banaye oba muneebuuzeeko kubanga ebimu tebiri mu libraries, biri mu mutwe gwange. Emyezi negigenda naye omwezi nga gumwe emabega netandika okwogera ate ne mugamba nti kakati we bituuse gwe tuwa omuntu gwe weesiga tutereze document. Ekyo twakikola ne tukaanya ku final draft, n'atuwa olunaku ne tusaako omukono. Mu kitiibwa ekyawaggulu ennyo, sigamba nti ntaddeko omukono dokumenti yiyo egenze mu City House nammwe muteekeko omukono. Mwandyebuuziza ti Mao alina kaki, naye ndowooza naye yagenda n'awuliriza bye nali njogera n'ategeera nti waliwo we tukwataganira ku lwa Uganda, waliwo DP weyinza okukwataganira ne NRM ku lwa Uganda. Kati bwe njogerera ndowooza jjo mwabanamawulire mwalabe nti Ukraine batudde ne Russia ate nga bali mu kuttiŋŋana ku nsonga z'eŋŋano. Ono munnaffe abadde ayogera ku disjoint sets, kati nombuulira Russia ne America bali disjoint set, balina ka intersection akakwata ku nsonga z'eŋŋano. Ukraine emanyi nti erina abalimi b'eŋŋano beetaaga akatale ebweru wa Russia, ebweru wa Ukraine. Bakaanyiza ekyo bakiyita nkolagana. America ne Russia balina enkolagana ku nsonga ezikwata ku space, newankubadde nga America ekulembera NATO era bali mu kulwanisa Russia. Ebyo tulina okubinyonyola. Kyenva mulaba nga ebiro bino siri mukambwe nnyo kubanga bambi abasinga bye boogera lwa butamanya. Ebisinga tebanabirengera, bagamba kutwala ekiro omusiima bukedde. Olw'enkya bwe munaalaba nga pulesa akendedde, bannayuganda bagenda boogeraganya, mujja gamba nti Mao sekanoolya, Mao ntugga yalengera wala. Ebisolo ebirala bwe biraba ng'entugga edduka tebibuuza, birina kugoberera kubanga yo eba yalengedde dda. Ebbugumu eriri ku social media lyo lirina okubeerawo kubanga ekintu kino kibwatuse wakati ng'abantu abatubuzaabuza nti balina pulaani, tebalina pulaani. Bagamba nti tugenda kubaawo tujja kubategeeza kye tuzaako. Namwe abanamawulire ne mubawaga agenda tubuulira kikyazaako. Ffe mu DP tugamba we prefer well done to well said. Abamu bali mu bya well said, mwogedde bulungi, naye ffe twagala mukoze bulungi. Natuula akakiiko akasunsula leader of opposition nambuuza ku nsonga y'okwogeraganya wakati w'ebibiina ne mutegeeza nti nange nkitegedde nti iPod abamu tebakikiririzaamu, naye tulina ekibiina ekiyitibwa National Consultative Forum for Political Parties, ate ekyo kiri mu ssemateeka. Forum eyo ereeta ebibiina byonna. Ssentebe wa National Consultative Forum wa NRM, omumyuka we wa NUP. Ekyo ekibiina kyetaaga kugumya. Tutandike okwogeraganya mpola mpola. Nambuuza ku nsonga z'abasibe, ne mugamba ensonga ziri mu kooti, naye engeri gye ngenda mu ofiisi eyo nja kuba ntegeezebwa ebiri mu zifayiro. Bwe mba n'amagezi ge nsobola okuwa gavumenti, ago amagezi nja gawa gavumenti. Ekyokusatu ku nsonga ya national dialogue, ne mbagamba nti okwogeraganya kirungi, kubanga singa abakadde baffe abatusooka abateekawo omusingi gwa Uganda baatuula ne bakaanya, ebyaliwo tebyandibaddewo. Agenda yaffe ga Democratic Party mu kiwandiiko kino kulaba nga tukyusa gavumenti awatali kavuyo, kulaba nga tutereza ssemateeka, kubanga ssemateeka gwe tulina yeetaaga kutereza, naddala ku nsonga z'ebyokulonda okw'amazima n'obwenkanya, tubeere ne level playing field. Ekyokusatu, tulina okulaba nga tukyusa obukulembeze awatali kavuyo, tubeere n'okwogeraganya n'ensonga endala. Tulina okuweereza Abannayuganda. Abamu bankubidde amasimu ne bagamba nti pressure z'Abannayuganda zigenze wansi. Abamu bagenze bagamba kati ebyo bya Muhoozi project. Tubagamba nti ebyo sibimanyiiko, temutabula birthday party n'ensonga za gavumenti. Naye ekikulu kiri nti nze neewaddeyo okubeera olutindo. Nga tugenda mu mwaka gwa 2026 tulina okukola tubeeko bye tukaanyaako ku nsonga ezo ze njogeddeko. Bwe tukaanya, nsuubira gavumenti eddako eya 2026 paka 2031 suubira ejja kubeera gavumenti y'Abannayuganda bonna, kubanga ejja kuba gavumenti y'abazimbi. Bano basereka, bano bazimba matafaali, bali ku byamayinja, bano bali ku byambaawo, bano bakola tiles, bali bakola kiri. Tuzimbe Uganda ey'empya. Omulimu gw'okuzimba Uganda empya si mulimu gwa muntu omu, era si mulimu gwa kibiina kimu, gwaffe ffenna. Uganda empya kyemanyi ejja kutandika 2031. Abamu bambuuza kaakati naawe wabwogwa. Kituufu endagaano eriko omukono gwali pulezidenti kati ali mu ntebe n'ayagala okubeera pulezidenti, naye bannange tekyetaagisa Norbert Mao okubeera pulezidenti Uganda okutereera. Kankole ogwa Musa, mwe musomoke mugende mu nsi ensuubize. Ffe abamu ne bwe tunaasigala mu ddungu lya Sinai tetutidde, naye nga Uganda erina okgenda. Uganda erina okugenda mu nsi ensuubizi. Ogwo gwe mulamwa oguli mu kiwandiiko. Amaloboozi gali mu kibiina, waliwo abawakanya engeri
88.8 CBS FM.